We're good to go? Hello, welcome to Dire Bear. My name is Theodis Trail. Before we get started, I would like to do a quick shout out to our sponsor, D&D Beyond, which is an online tool set for both dungeon masters and players alike. This evening, we'll be exploring the continent of Varinheim with 4 overly eccentric players with overly eccentric characters. The world of Varinheim is medieval fantasy teeming with war, political struggles for power, and kingdoms that are not on the most up and up. But you'll get to learn that as time goes on. Now, as I said, my name is Theodis Trail, and let's dive in to Varinheim.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm good to go there?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's begin our adventure into the continent, a landmass that is dominated by multiple ruling kingdoms and empires that have lasted centuries. The Dela, a stretch of fertile land that separates 2 allying powers, is controlled by the Ashland Kingdom, ruled by the Darrington family. The Ashland Kingdom prides itself on integrating other cultures freely into its own while maintaining its own self-identity. Although it has not been an easy endeavor for the kingdom, it is only surrounded by rivals as neighbors. The kingdom has maintained its survival, though, by taking advantage of its lengthy coast, rivers, and high mountains that separates it from its adversaries. By utilizing the rivers and coast, the kingdom has been able to form numerous alliances by exporting quite a few of its abundant resources. Yet, in the last 10 years, those alliances have begun to wane. Our story of discovery, tragedy, and revenge begins in a town called Creighton, in the western lands of the Ashland Kingdom, along the Diamond River. The town formed under the authority of the Razov family when the area's fertile land was discovered to have a plethora of caves nearby filled with valuable ores deep within. The town capitalized on this and began exporting vast amounts of fish, crops, and, above all things, ore to neighboring cities like Isatol and Aston. However, this story begins in the old tavern inn called the Grotto, in the late morning hours after the sailing Grail had just made port. We find 2 individuals sitting at a table enjoying a nice breakfast. One from getting a nice good sleep with his 2 pet wolves, and another just finishing a morning workout. And nice fun. Bad Juju, can you describe yourself?
My name is Bad Juju, and I am playing Saphira, an 8-foot-tall furbolg, who is lightly dressed in leather and hide, with a large great axe, a club, and a large sack over her shoulder.
The other gentleman with Saphira is a gnome, no more than 3 3/4 feet tall, with brown hair, clean shaven, wearing a rich brown leather armor, light armor, with 2 wolves One black and gray, another pure white. Both which are sitting currently at a table, taking in a breakfast of ale, eggs, sausage, bacon, and pork, and enjoying the nice morning air. Garrick is kind of chowing down on his food. And if I'm not mistaken, Saphira, you two are conversing, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes. Yes, we were.
By y'all's, by your early morning excursion.
Yes, she had just gone for a run, taken a bath in the stream afterward, and a little bit damp still, but just gotten in to eat some breakfast.
Okay. The tavern around you is filled with patrons of all sorts. We've got dwarves, humans, halflings, gnomes, the occasional tabaxi, just kind of chilling, eating. It's early morning. There's quite a bit of talk in the air of a grand feast occurring later in the evening. The barkeep himself is kind of dealing with the patrons, move them about, trying to just tend to everybody. A dwarf, if I'm not mistaken, is sitting off in the back corner playing a bit of music. Is that correct, Doc? Otter?
Sorry, come again. Is that me?
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, you're sitting in the back playing music?
Sure. In the back of the tavern, you see a dwarf sitting on a stool, wearing flowy clothes, comfortable attire, and on the ground next to them is a pile of chainmail and a shield. You would hear forlorn music coming from a lyre as I sit and play music in the corner of the tavern, humming along. I'm about 4.5 foot tall, long, sun-bleached brown hair, half of it is braided to keep it out of my face, a beard reaching past my feet on the stool, long, braided together, held with what looks like metal adornments.
I would say that quite a few of the tavern inhabitants currently are like kind of slightly dancing to the music. Others are just kind of like taking it in as they kind of enjoy their morning. It's, I would say, outside it's clear. The sun is shining. Hardly any clouds are about. Kind of different from the foggy morning that had first rolled through the town of Creighton. During this point, I would say, as you guys are kind of like just eating and taking y'all's breakfast and everything, a certain patron come walking into the actual tavern, a elf with some rather colorful clothing and a tiefling. Ayana, would you care to describe yourself?
Certainly. I'm Ayana, and I'll be playing Theta. She is a tiefling with waist-length, bright white hair. She has a dual set of horns, one going up over her head, a second set that wraps around her ears. She carries a staff with her. She has long flowing robes, kaftan style, that are in a darker red color, trimmed with yellow. Her horns and in her hair are some brass adornments and chains.
Okay. These players, all meeting in the town with different motives and reasonings, are basically about to have their destinies kind of converge and merge with one another. One of which they're unaware is about to also cross their path. One that is not in the town of Creighton just yet. But she is on her way at this point. Given, would you care to describe yourself? Does she know that she's muted?
Yeah, you're not coming through.
Sorry, I was typing. Sorry, I would tap it because my typing would come through with notes. Sorry. Hi, I'm Given. I play a fluffy Kenku. She's about 5 feet tall, and she's covered in various decorations of jewelry and paints. She adorns a monk-like attire, but also somewhat ceremonial in design, and with a quarter staff on her back. She's got icy blue eyes that is always interested and gazing around, and her ears flicking around in interest, and she's on her way.
She is on the way. With that being said, though, the wizard, by the name of Tanithil, as he kind of like enters into the actual tavern, kind of like turns to Fida and says, I think this actually, he says to you there, Fida, I think it's actually be a really nice spot for us to kind of set up and stay for the evening, since the boat just landed. What do you say?
I think this place works. This will work nicely for our stay here.
Yeah. You can see that Tanithil is just kind of like looking around at all the other patrons and is like, oh, I'll go talk to the barkeep as he kind of leaves you and walks towards the half-orc barkeep that is currently wearing like a white apron and a dark tannish shirt with stains kind of covering it. Saphira, you kind of, I would say, take notice to these two patrons as they kind of walk in rather briefly. Tanithil himself having overly colorful clothing and 3 eggs kind of spinning about on top of him on his staff. And he's just kind of like making his way up to the barkeep to ask how much it is to stay for an evening. What are you doing, by chance?
I'm going to go along with Tanithil and just listen to the conversation. Just take in the new kingdom I'm in.
Okay.
This new town, as it's a place I've never been before.
I would say that the tavern's actually in decent shape, by the way. Despite the fact of being in the harbor district of Creighton, it's actually pretty well built and kept up. The roof doesn't have any holes in it. The flooring is actually rather sturdy, and the doors are actually on all their hinges, and not loose in any way. And it doesn't have any sort of musky smell to the building itself of mold. It's actually relatively clean. So, out of curiosity, though, Saphira, you're sitting there with Garrick, the gnome. What are you guys up to?
She's just eating quietly at the moment, although she is listening for anyone who speaks to the tavern owner. Like she was doing over the previous night with Garrick, listening for any conversations about coins so she can try and learn more about it.
Okay.
References as to how much different things cost.
So I'd say you're just trying to like listen in on other conversations and everything.
Yes.
Okay. Are you? You're not trying to like, if I'm not mistaken, you're not trying to hide that fact. You're just kind of like turning your head and everything, just in a general direction. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes just an ear turns, sometimes head and ear. Not really being secretive at all.
Okay. I would say that you can actually hear Tanthil talking to the barkeep. The barkeep mentions that it's only 2 gold for staying for the evening, same price as y'all were quoted. Basically, a bed to sleep and breakfast in the morning. Be able to hear this. I would say as like you're kind of like listening in, Garrick would still take notes and just kind of like just look at you like as he's still eating and is just like listening in. I see eavesdropping.
Well, just trying to understand more about currency after that noble.
I don't. You know what? In all the times that we have traveled, I don't think you actually mentioned that y'all don't really use currency?
I stated it once briefly, but we didn't really touch on the subject. Like I said, in the wood, we don't have much use of it.
Garrick is just kind of like, alrighty, just kind of looking down at his food and kind of continue eating. Tanithil, if I'm not mistaken, Ida, you're right there with him.
Yes, I am right there with him.
Okay. After like just kind of like he's talking with the barkeep, the half orc, just kind of like turns to you two and just like, that'll be 2 gold per room unless you unless you wish to share of it. It's 2 gold. You get to bed and breakfast in the morning.
We'll have separate rooms for this stay.
Tanithil was like overly like kind of like bubbly personality, just like, yeah, just separate rooms. We're just traveling companions. That's all. The orc just kind of gives you a look. It's like, all right, if I can get 4 gold, that'd be appreciative. Tanithil kind of like reaches into his pocket and pulls out 2 gold, and he kind of like, you guys have traveled, if I'm not mistaken, for about 10 days on the ship, correct?
We have.
I don't know if y'all have actually shared on how much gold you each have, by chance.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all?
I would say no, that we have not. That we have probably indicated that we have enough to pay for our accommodations and such.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I will reach into my coin purse and pull out 2 gold.
Okay. Tanithil just kind of like hands over the 2 gold to the half orc, and as like he kind of like does this, he looks at the orc like, if you don't mind me asking, what made me call you, good sir? And the half orc just kind of looks at him for a brief moment and just like, my name is Durvath, half orc of Creighton. If you need anything when it comes to this town, I have a pretty decent amount of information. I keep a good ear on things. Tag going, oh, okay. And he's like, well, you may be back. You have to ask questions about like past history of the town of some sorts and what it's best known for. And as he says this, though, Tanithil kind of like turns to you there, Ayana, with a kind of bit of smile on his face. He's like, should we get breakfast this morning? I'm somewhat hungry, I will admit. Rather starving.
Likewise, we didn't have a chance to eat before we left the boat. Let's have breakfast. And, let's go and take a look at some of the things in the town. If you'd like to stay here and discuss with our patron here, I do have one stop I do have to make.
But if you care to go to make that one stop, that's perfectly fine. I will kind of chill here at the tavern, and then I think I'm going to probably look and see if there's any wizard shops in the area.
Perfect.
Maybe.
How about we meet at something like that? So how about we meet back here, and then let's go and see what they have here.
He kind of goes, that sounds like a great idea. He goes kind of to sit down at one of the tables real quick to get a drink and also get something to eat.
I will go and sit as well and like at the table so that I can also eat before I go in.
Okay. He goes and sits next to you actually there, Saphira. He kind of like makes his way and kind of like sits down at the table, and he's just kind of like overly eccentric, and a brief moment like he's kind of like maintaining like a conversation with Vita before turning towards you, and he's like, hi, if you don't mind me asking, where are you guys from? My name is Tanithil, and like he kind of like outstretches his hand to kind of give you a greeting. Garrick is just go ahead. So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Garrick is just kind of like looking at it with a bit of a, don't really do with overly social people.
Saphira doesn't pay attention to his hand. She just says I'm Stalker from the Eowyn Woods. You don't happen to know where those are, do you?
Tanithil just kind of like looks at you after like kind of like sitting there holding his hand out for just a brief moment, going, "I, Aylwin Woods. I am not really sure on that. Stalker is a rather strange name, though. I will admit. Where'd you get that?
It was given to me by family.
Ah, that's how I got my name, Tanithil. Tanithil Westeros.
Good to meet you.
I'm a wizard from Lilanor. And he just kind of grabs on to like his kind of coat that he's wearing, just kind of pins it up a little bit. Just overly happy and proud of such. Yeah. Kind of turns to you and he's like, if you don't mind me asking, what brings you here?
Well, like I said, I'm trying to find the wood.
Trying to find Aowen? I mean, okay. Usually when someone's like, in Aowen Woods are from where you're from?
Yes.
Usually people know where they're from and how they. Yeah, I'm confused.
It's a bit of a strange situation, yes.
Garrick, who's just kind of like sitting there, just goes, yeah, rather, yeah, strange. Private, but strange. Well, Tanithil just kind of going, well, all right. If you don't mind me introducing them, this is Vita, companion of mine. And he just kind of like gestures towards her.
So, Stalker, you said?
Yes.
What a curious name. I'm Fida. I come from the I'm from the Azajar dynasty. I've never traveled quite this far before. This is quite the town.
I wouldn't really know. I just got here.
We've just departed the boat. Haven't been here too long either. Yeah. Eowyn Woods. What kingdom is like? What region of the continent is that from?
Not entirely certain.
Mystery by the sounds of it. I'm curious. And you, Garrick? Has he introduced himself?
Yeah, I would say that he has. Garrick just kind of like still slightly eating his food. His plate's pretty much at this point finished. Just kind of like looks up at you and is just like, I am personally from the Nine More Woods to the west. I actually stumbled upon Saphira 3 days ago. I would say.
That sounds right, yes.
Yeah, 3 days ago, I was out in the woods. I was tracking down some poachers when she showed up in a bit of a tussle. I can honestly say. That's as much as I care to actually say.
And these two here, they're your companions? The fluffy ones.
At this point, like, the two wolves are just kind of like panting, and Garrett.
Saphira is sneaking them food, not stealthily.
Not stealthily. Garrett just goes, "Yes, they are my companions. One is Silfir, and the other one is Night Stalker." And he kind of gestures to the white wolf being Silfir and the black and gray wolf as being Night Stalker. Both of which are snacking on the food that Saphira is kind of giving to them. Which they're. Go ahead, Ion.
They're beautiful creatures.
And he just kind of gives you a smile and just like, I appreciate it. Thank you. They're rather loyal, I can honestly say. And through quite a few adventures with them. One more than the other, I will admit. Night Stalker is rather new to my family. Silfair, not so much. Silfair has been around for quite a while. As he kind of says this, the wolves kind of like, I would say, get up at one point and just kind of like start like moving around the tavern and everything just for a brief moment, and then just kind of like, like kind of stretching their legs and then coming back around, sitting back down. As they do this, a lady kind of like bursts through the tavern door, very happy and just ecstatic. She's carrying what appears to be a flyer. She is brown hair with brown eyes, no more than about 5'10", rather thin. She's wearing a crown's or not crown's guard. Sorry, she's wearing a town's guard outfit of red and silver. As she kind of like comes into the tavern, she just automatically kind of like looks towards everybody and begins like begins showing these people this flyer. She actually comes to you there, Otter, really quick, and she's like, hello, sir, if you don't mind me asking, what are your plans this evening?
I will begrudgingly stop playing my music.
Astonished.
I'm not sure why.
She kind of like just looks at you and I would say she would notice the kind of to talk to her for a brief moment. She's like, I just wanted to
walk up to a musician playing and humming music, and you're like, hey, how's it going?
Like taking the earbuds off. Hi.
Right.
What you listening to?
Oh my god.
She
Exactly.
quickly just kind of like realizes the mistake that she has made. She's like, I'm sorry, I just wanted to let everyone know really quick. And like as she begins to kind of like say this, she kind of like turns to everybody and says, I hope y'all do know that there is a grand feast in the Great Hall today in Creighton. We're gonna have chicken, beef, corn, potatoes. It's going to be marvelous. We hope to see you. It is open to everybody that wishes to come. There will be plenty of food for everyone, plenty of seats. And she kind of like turns back to you there, Otter, and she's like, you can also bring your instruments if you care to play as well.
Lovely.
She just kind of goes, okay, I just wanted y'all to know that, and just kind of like begins like kind of like walking off, as like she kind of like begins to kind of like leaving the tavern. Kenneth, I would say, kind of like raises his hand and kind of stops her, and he's like, Miss, if you don't mind me asking, and she kind of like turns and kind of like walks over. I would say you're still you'd pick up your music, correct, Otter?
I would probably
Okay.
lean off the stool a little bit and extend my hand, and my tankard of ale would come up to my hand, and I would drink it. Let it go, let it fall back to the ground smoothly, kind of hovers and drifts down to the floor, and then resume playing until something else happens.
Okay. As she kind of like walks over to Tanithil, and you go back to playing the music. Tanithil kind of like turns to her and it's like, if you don't mind me asking, what is your name? And she kind of responds politely, saying, "Oh, my name is Rhea Ravenwood. I'm the head towns guard of Creighton. I just sorry, by the way, about the interruption. I just want everybody to know that about the grand feast this evening at the Great Hall." Tanthil, kind of like turning to you there, Vita, goes, "I don't know about you, but a grand feast kind of sounds like a good idea."
Absolutely. We should go.
Garrett kind of like looking up at Saphira, just kind of goes, "We're not leaving the town this evening, I'm pretty sure, correct?"
She said there'd be a lot of people there. Maybe someone knows where the woods are.
Garrett kind of like sits there for a brief moment, turns to Rhea, and goes, "By chance, if you don't mind me asking, is there going to be any uh, high-profile individuals at this grand feast?" Rhea just kind of like turns to Garrick and you, Saphira, and goes, "Well, of course. I mean, uh, we're going to have Rumar Mudrik there. He's the advisor for Avina Rezov. He'll be there. Is there? Are you going to try and talk to him by chance?" Garrick kind of like just looks at it and looks to you there, Saphira. Just kind of shrugs his shoulders.
She doesn't know who either of those people are, so she's just, I don't know. No verbal response.
Garrick goes, "He's an advisor for someone that's of a head individual. I would say he probably knows maybe a little bit of something. So I'd say it'd be worth a shot."
Possibly.
Garrick kind of turns to her and goes, "Well, we'll be there. I'm pretty sure of it." And she's like, "Great. I hope to see y'all then. If you don't mind, I do need to kind of go around to the rest of the town and let everyone know. I will hopefully see you then." And she kind of like briskly walks out the door. At this point, Tanthil just kind of turns to Vita and goes, "Well, when my food gets here, I will eat, and then I will hit the wizard shops then before then, because yes, I want to see if there's any scrolls or anything I can get my hands on."
Sounds fair. I will meet you at the wizard shop then. There's a few things I'd like to look for as well.
Well, I look forward to meeting you back here. And it's like he kind of like says this like the food they ordered, which was just some eggs and bacon. That's all. Kind of like gets in front of him, some water. And as he kind of like begins to eat, he actually turns to you there, Saphira, and goes, "By chance, do you actually know if there is any wizard shops in this town?"
Not a clue.
He just goes, "I should have asked the town's guard lady. She may have known." I
Well,
remember
Garrick, perhaps you would know?
Garrick literally just kind of like shrugs and he's just like, "This is the first time I've actually been in this town with Saphira actually as well. We're in the same boat on this one. Neither really of us know."
At about this time, I'm going to finish playing the song that I got interrupted playing. And gonna hop down from my stool, gather up my gear, and look for somewhere to sit down. My tankard will be just kind of floating along beside me, because not enough hands.
Out of curiosity, you know what? Yeah, he would see that. Would he
Who
take
would
note?
see what?
I was wondering if Tanithil would actually notice.
It's kind of hard to.
I'm thinking in the lines of him actually
Tanker.
talking to. I'm thinking like this. He's talking to Saphira. Would he actually notice? Because he's more focused on like Garrick and Saphira and his plate of food.
Looking up.
Right. Like, what are his odds? I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna roll for that.
Okay.
I don't have Aaron here at the moment. Until Aaron's here, yeah, I have to play Tanithil.
That is fine. So, I'm guessing the most
like,
open table is the one that everyone seems to be sitting at?
actually, I would say no. That one in particular is actually pretty full. It's only a 4-person table. There's about 6 altogether, 4 of which are completely full of patrons. The others are partially. There is a bar in the back of the tavern to where the barkeep is at currently, with about 12 seats if you wish to sit there.
But it's high chairs, so you'll have to climb.
Poor dwarf. I just realized that.
Oh, I am so ready for all of the short jokes.
Problem is, he probably won't see them coming. Sorry.
You know, I'm curious about the very large fellow across the way, so I think I'm just gonna kind of make my way over there and I'll just like drop my chainmail and shield and sit down at the table.
Before you even have a chance to sit down, Saphira actually reaches out to grab your attention and just say, "That was a beautiful song. Thank you."
Which I'm gonna say, like, after, by the way, Saphira like talks to you there, Otter, Tanthil is actually gonna look at you and he's just like, oh, a floating tankard, and he just kind of like leans in and he's like, I want to know more about that.
One, thank you, it reminds me of home. 2, and he'll reach up and just kind of grab the tankard. Sometimes I just don't have enough hands. Something I picked up along the way. And just kind of start sipping on this tankard.
Tanthil grabs his staff to kind of like pull it forward and show it off. It's got like 3 floating eggs. And he's like, I got the same thing. I'm just kind of curious. Where are you from?
I'm from a lot of places. Most of them pretty far from here.
So
Insert place DM hasn't told me about yet. We'll revisit later.
Exposed.
Saphira will immediately. Ever heard of the Awen Woods?
Have I heard of the Avon Woods?
Roll a history check.
Oh,
By the
good.
way, drink.
Oh no.
I like having that power, actually.
I guess we're starting off the night well. That's with a +2 in history, that's a 22.
22.
You got a natural 20.
I did.
You butt.
I would still say, though, you probably do not know where the Aowen Woods or where it is.
Lovely. No, I don't think I've come across that place in my travels.
Oh well.
Rather rude of that town's guard to interrupt good music.
Yes.
It was a lovely song.
That it was. It was actually a very lovely song. Tanthil says, and
Did I have to roll for that song, or are we just saying it went well?
I would say it went. I'm going to give you that. Tanthil just kind of goes, though she was just trying to let us know about a grand feast this evening, which, if you don't mind me asking, what is your name, good sir?
My name is Emerald.
Well, Emerald, are you going to the grand feast this evening?
There's not a ton to do in this town, so it might be interesting.
Possibly. That is actually one thing we have not actually figured is what is all in this town.
Are
But-
you familiar with it? Like, with this town? Like, what sorts of shops are here and such? Myself and Tanithil here just got off a boat, and we're both new here. So what is there to see? What is there to do?
I would say that you actually do know of a couple of the shops in the town there, Otter. One of which is Derek's Components, which is a wizard shop just located outside the Harbor District. It's actually located in the North Gate district, to be exact. And then there is
in the
also,
what district?
North Gate.
Okay.
Ooh, shopping spree.
And then there's also Corlax Arms, which is in the Timber Pass district, just to the north of where you guys are. You know, it's an armors and weapons shop, but it also has general goods usually.
Mm.
What was the name of the district that was in again?
The Northgate district, which is to the east of the Harbor district that you guys are currently at, and then to the north is the Timber Pass district. Northgate district has Derek's Components, and Timber Pass has Corlax Arms.
Perfect, Hanathil. I'm going to finish up quickly. I'll go run my errand, and then let's meet there. Now that we have an idea where you'd like to go.
Tanithil just kind of like grins. He's like, I might go here in a bit. He's like, I'm kind of interested currently in Emerald with his floating tankard and
Certainly.
travels. So he just kind of like begins asking you like questions there, Emerald. Almost too fast to like catch to a certain extent, like just overly just excited. Like essentially he's like asking you like where you're from, what's it like, what's the culture, what's the gods that they worship, how long have they been worshiping the gods that they do, just basically throwing everything at you all at once.
I rolled a 6 for history, so I give him the Cliff Notes version
of everything.
of like the historical stuff for like where I would have come from.
Okay. Which I would say that you pretty much kind of like tell them the lands that you're from are
I'm
far.
from a lot of places and
Yeah.
none of them close.
Right. Just like I'm from quite a few places far from here. And as like this conversation is going on, Fida, you make your way, if I'm not mistaken, to go do a certain task?
Yes. I will finish eating. I'll be smiling at the bombardment of questions happening to poor Emerald here. And then once I'm done, I will excuse myself and head out and head north to north of the town.
As you kind of begin making your way from the town, the town inhabitants are out and about as you're walking through the dock district, cutting through the north gate to kind of wrap around up towards the woods. You see people working in the harbor. Essentially, they are putting away crates and supplies. Shopkeepers are essentially kind of like putting stuff out for people to buy, or you see them kind of showcasing a few things. Individuals are having conversations on the streets that you would kind of like catch glimpses of hearing. You see towns guard and also members of the Ashland army out and about, maintaining a certain level of peace in the area. And as you're walking, you hear a whisper in your head that just goes, "Took you long enough to get away from those pesky individuals."
I am on my time here, not yours. You will go with when I go.
I don't remember that's how that was by arrangement.
Where is my family? You can give me information too.
Like I said, they are safe.
That still doesn't tell me where.
And that doesn't...
You told me it is plain. I want them back.
Yes, and I understand that. But if I am also not mistaken, we made a deal for you to take care of something for me in the woods.
Would it be better for me to draw all attention to myself departing so suddenly? Perhaps you'd like everyone to follow and see. You can go by my time.
I'll let you have that. Point made in this area. I just wish and hope that you do not disappoint. That being said, and the voice kind of gets to more of a low growl, I hope that you can make your way to the woods north of Craven. There you'll come across a clearing. It's rather large with some stones making a circle. I wish for you to draw a particular symbol there. That is all I ask. And as the voice kind of says this, you begin feeling as if like the pathway that this voice is wanting you to take is kind of playing through your head, as if like it's kind of like the being is just making sure you know where it wants you to go.
So I, in essence, see the pathway in front of me that I need to follow to get to this clearing?
Yes.
So I will nonchalantly, without drawing any attention to myself, just go wander through the town along the path and just take in the sights, and then just wander through the trees and just take in the look of everything, looking like I'm exploring. Just looking around.
All right. You said you cut through the town and made your way through the trees?
Yep.
Okay. As like you kind of like get to the north woods of Creighton, and you begin kind of like making your way. You traverse through these woods for a good few miles. It's not a small trek. And as you kind of get deeper and deeper into the woods, you kind of begin seeing kind of like moss hanging down from trees. And you also see like very just old large oaks and pines are just kind of like very condensed, and then it just begins kind of like becoming more sparse as you walk, and there's this like large opening. The opening itself is rather circular, easily a good 100 yards between you and the next set of trees. In this opening area, you see what appears to be kind of like stones all kind of like turned over or kind of like folded in or folded over, making somewhat of a circle. And as you kind of, I would say, get closer to this,
I will get closer to this and ask, "Oh, cantankerous one, is this where this needs to be drawn?"
don't care for sarcasm.
I don't care for your insults.
Yes. This is where I wish for you to be. And as like the voice says this, the symbol of which that this being is kind of wanting you to draw in the ground before you that is covered in grass and straw, chips of wood and branches, just kind of like essentially like kind of like runs through your head and everything. 1 second. Yes. Done?
Dun, dun, dun. Have them join.
A surprise new character is
Have them
entered the game.
join.
Sorry about that. Anyway,
Did I
that's
accept the apology?
being said.
Things happen. No worries.
Yeah. The symbol of which that the being is kind of like wanting you to like kind of like etch onto the ground, kind of like begins running through your mind, burning as it just feels like it's being just implanted. And the patron just kind of goes, I expect you to be able to draw this no issue. And it's of like this pentagram, essentially, just kind of connecting these rocks that are on the ground. And then the center is of a demonic skull just at the center that this being that's talking into your head wishes for you to do.
What is it this will do?
If I'm not mistaken, that was not part of our arrangement of asking questions. It will not harm you if that is of any concern or your family. If anything, you do this, and I will let you know where one of your families is located.
You do not harm my companion either.
Tanaville? Ah, no, I'd rather not. He seems rather of use. Although annoying.
Fine. I will draw this. I want my family back.
And you will. I promise you that. You have one of your family back.
When?
Soon. As this voice kind of says this, you kind of feel as if like that like the voice like probably at like one point had like a kind of like a dark presence on you, just kind of like begin to like kind of like pull back, as if it just kind of like leaves you to your own devices.
I will draw the symbol.
I was like,
Reluctantly.
I was straight reluctantly drawing this thing.
I was like, I hate
All
this
time.
being. I was like, I hate this being. I don't like this.
So I very reluctantly draw this whole thing, and then I'm going to. Does anything happen?
No, nothing happens.
Then I leave and go and start making my way back to town.
Okay. All right. As like you kind of like begin making your like kind of way back to the town, a lot of the townsfolk are just kind of like still like conversing and going throughout their day. I would say at this point, it's late afternoon. I would say it's probably around 4 in the afternoon.
What
At
time
this
did
point.
I leave?
The boat arrived in port at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it took y'all till about 10 to finally get off. So you left, I would say, the Tavern Inn around 10:30, 11.
So it's
Yeah.
about 4 hours later that I've returned back to the town.
Yeah, it honestly, it wasn't like as late as, or it wasn't as early as you thought it was. So, yeah.
Time zones. Boat lag, if you will.
Right? As Fida is kind of like off doing her thing, Saphira, what are you doing?
Well, after eating, unless Garrick wants to go anywhere, she's just waiting for that festival.
Just waiting for that festival?
Yeah.
The Grand Feast?
Probably examining the equipment in the sack in their room. They still have a room, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of figured you guys probably paid for more than just a single night.
Yeah.
I know Garrick did. Garrick gave, I think, 6 gold altogether.
Okay.
So he paid for 3. But Garrick is actually going to go. I do wish to actually check out the Corlax arms, if you don't mind, though, Saphira. Need a few more arrows. Kind of running low. And he just kind of like looks at his quiver that has like 6 arrows.
I'll accompany you.
As like you say this, like Garrett kind of like turns to Emerald and goes, Are you gonna check out the arms shop, or are you more of a wizarding folk yourself?
To who?
To you there, Emerald.
I'm pretty stocked up on what I need here. I'm probably just gonna hang out at the tavern and see if I can't pay for my room for the evening.
I got turned down on the mechanical keyboard.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. You said you're stocked up there, though?
I said, as far as materials, I'm pretty well supplied right now.
Okay.
I'll probably hang out here at the tavern, try and see if I can't gather enough tips for another evening here, and wait for the feast, whatever that may bring.
Tanithil just goes, well, if you care for tips, he kind of like tosses you a silver. And he's like, I hope this helps.
Every bit helps. Put silver into a pouch.
And Tanithil just goes, I hope y'all don't mind. I'm going to go to the wizard shop. Derek's components. If you mind? And he kind of like gets up and kind of like begins like making his way outside. Garrett kind of like turns to you there, Saphira, and just kind of goes, he's overly hyper.
Nothing I haven't seen before.
That one has a lot of energy.
Just a bit. Garrett turns to kind of like looks at you there for Saphira and just goes, I'm gonna go and check out the arms shop at this point. And he kind of like stands up and begins kind of like making his way. Sylphir and Night Stalker kind of like following behind.
She'll just grab her weapons, lift the sack over her shoulder, and follow him.
As like Garrett kind of like begins to like leave, he just turns to Emerald and goes, I enjoyed the music. I hope to hear more of it this evening.
We'll see if they let me play.
He kind of gives a smile. It's like, awesome. Hope so. And he begins kind of like making his way to the arms shop. As you guys are heading there, Saphira. I take you kind of take in the town as well, like uh Vida did.
Yeah, she's paying attention to what is where. Um, More how to navigate it, less what stores and what names of stores there are.
Okay. As you kind of like traversing across the town, and you see like other shopkeepers. You do, I would say, take notice to quite a few things. Like Derek's components. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, you actually want to see Derek's components. Sorry. Towards the Timber Pass district, you do actually come across though what appears to be an orphanage. And as you're kind of like making your way there, uh, you see this gentleman kind of like uh, carrying this child that appears to be sleeping. And you just see him like kind of like walking up to this orphanage and kind of like passing her off. You see kind of like a quick exchange. This gentleman is dressed in all black with a cavalier's hat, a red feather. He appears to also have a sword, cutlass, and then some elongated stick. It's not a staff though, just kind of round and kind of as it kind of like one end is round as the other end is more flat and rectangular in the back. It's kind of like just kind of walking through uh, the town at this point as he kind of like drops off this girl and leaves. You see him just kind of like heading north towards head towards the northern end of the town. As Garrick kind of like continues walking, he just quickly makes his way to the arms shop, which is a rather medium size. It's got glass windows, a very sturdy wooden door with metal bracings. The floor itself is uh, in good condition, minus a spot with a small hole. Nothing bigger than, I would say, by about an inch in diameter. The roof itself is actually rather sturdy. In the back, there's a countertop. You see what appears to be a human, black hair, uh, bushy beard that's got tinges of gray all throughout it. The shop itself, has kind of like a walk path from the door to the counter, but to the left of the entrance, there's other countertops and cases with weapons and gloves and other items. To the right, there's cabinets and barrels. In the barrels, there's dozens of arrows. And as you guys kind of enter, the human that I just described, the man with black hair and a black bushy beard with gray tinges, standing no more than probably 5'5", 5'5", just kind of looks at you guys. It's like, patrons, I haven't had any this evening, this day. Mind if I ask you what brings you in? Garrick, who's kind of ahead of you, I would say, kind of just goes, I'm looking to buy some arrows. 2 dozen to be exact. The gentleman, Forlack, just goes, they're right over here. And he just kind of like gets, kind of like walks off around the counter over to the barrel and kind of shows, he's like, they're only a copper per arrows. Cheap. I'm pretty sure you can afford as much as you like. Which he then turns to you there, Saphira, and goes, what brings you here, if you don't mind?
Have you seen a lot of armor and weapons come through here?
I've been
People bringing in stuff that you haven't made?
My shop has been open for, I would say, close to 6 years. I've seen all sorts of weapons, just an armor. Uh,
You ever seen any black metallic armor with a red glow?
you kind of black metallic armor with red glow. He kind of walks away from you and kind of goes to a couple of his cabinets and begins kind of like looking through everything. Kind of comes back to you. He's like, "I've got nothing of such. I don't really recall of anything, any of sorts."
Right.
Out of curiosity, why do you ask?
Just something I'm trying to find more about.
Out of curiosity,
How about...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you actually have that armor set on you?
It's in the sack.
Okay, just want to make sure.
As well as the sword and shield.
Okay.
She will look around. Are there any large bows? Like her-sized bows?
He kind of like looks at it. He's like, I do believe I've actually got the bow of that particular size. And he kind of like walks off and goes to like one of the larger cabinets and opens it up, and he kind of like pulls down. It's just this rather large longbow. And he's like, "Are you referring to this?" And he kind of like holds it up.
Yes. How much would that be?
If I am not mistaken, this particular longbow goes for about 15 gold. It's your basic longbow. It's got no extra
You
benefits.
said the arrows are 1 copper. Any quivers?
I do have a quiver, and he kind of goes back to where that cabinet was and pulls out this quiver. The quiver itself is a brownish copper color, just kind of like all down, with a brown leather strap that kind of like wraps. They kind of put over you. He's like, "This quiver holds about 30 arrows."
And how much is it?
I wouldn't, if I'm not mistaken, it's no more than 5 gold.
Just a moment. She'll go quietly ask Gadrick if he thinks those prices sound right.
Garrick just kind of goes,
Here.
I would say that they're pretty fair, if I'm not mistaken. Are you needing help paying for that?
Well, I'm a little short.
How little?
Well, about 2 gold.
Garrick just kind of like hands you 5, and he's like, as he's like kind of like pulling arrows out of the barrel, like fill up his quiver. He's just like, "Can you actually ask him if he's got any rations that we can come back for later when we head out?"
Sure. Thank you. And she will do just that.
The Korlak just kind of looks at you and he's like, "I can get you some rations. When are y'all planning on heading out? Day or so?"
Yeah, we're not sure how many days, but at least 1.
I'll get some rations in a day and keep them for you guys. I'll get you some salted meats and some bread that should last.
Thank
And
you.
upon hearing like the bread and salted meat, Garrick just kind of like pipes up, "It better not be stale. Better not be stale." Just kind of like referring back to the inn that you guys had stayed at.
She's just gonna lean into the shopkeep, be like, "We encountered some not so great bread on the way here."
Korlak just kind of like gives a small chuckle and he's just like, Yeah, that can happen, if I'm not mistaken. There's an inn not too far from here that actually gives out these like beef sandwiches that are just dripping, from what I've heard. Yet, for some reason, still remarkably chewy. Don't know why.
Her face just reveals that he's right on. I'll take those items I mentioned before, please.
He just kind of grabs the bow, the quiver, and hands it to you. He's like, "I'll have you those rations in a day or so, depending on when you decide to leave."
Thank you.
And as he says, as Garrett kind of like tosses him uh, 2 silver for the 20 arrows that he grabbed, and puts them in his quiver, and he's like, "I've got what I needed. I just needed some arrows. That encounter that we had back in the woods somewhat drained my supplies."
You did fire a number of them.
I was not on my best, I will admit.
It happens.
As he says this, like he kind of like is like walking out. Silver and Night Stalker, by the way, were like sniffing everything in the man's shop, and he was just like kind of like as he like also was like talking to you guys, he was kind of like keeping an eye on the wolves. As you guys are kind of like heading back, Garrett kind of like turns and mentions, like, "That's all I needed for this evening, and or for today. I'm probably just gonna chill at the inn and get some rest. It's been quite a bit of a trek the last 2 weeks. Never mind the last 3 days."
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
And he just kind of like goes back to the tavern inn. Which, after I would say quite a few hours there, Fido, you do get back, as you're mentioning, to the town. And if I'm not mistaken, you said you were going to make your way to the wizard shop to meet Tanafil.
That is where I am going to head first, see if he's there.
Like, as like you kind of like making your way through the town and everything, Tanafil is like sitting outside the wizard shop, just like kind of like reading a book that he just bought. As
Find something interesting?
And he goes, "Hi, yes, I found actually," like he's just kind of like looking at it. He's just like, "A book about a temple, if I'm not mistaken, in the Ashland Dynasty." He like kind of like hands it to you.
Oh, I'll take a look at it.
You want to roll a history check?
History is I roll a 13 total.
13. The book that he's got is called "The Findings of the Temple of Nato," and from what you can tell, it seems like it's actually pretty accurate on the temple itself, though you've actually never been there or had really any major research of looking into it.
Okay, I'm gonna flip through the book a little bit and see if there's anything on like the temple layout or anything of that nature.
Okay. I would say so. You want to spend a few minutes, I would say, doing that.
I'll spend like a minute or two just briefly flipping through, actually fairly quickly flipping through some of the pages of the book just to get a feel for like what this book is about, like what types of information is inside it.
Okay. Like as like you kind of like flipping through the book and everything, you notice that like certain pages have like detailed descriptions of like the layout of the temple and everything.
Intriguing.
And Tanathil just kind of like goes, "I'm just saying, when all said and done, we can check out that particular temple. If we've got a book, even if it's been explored already, I don't mind going and checking it out."
Certainly.
Yeah, that being said, this shopkeep is mean. Just like kind of like points. Right?
Oh no.
I'm just saying he's rude. Just saying he's rude.
So I am going to go in and like, oh, I'd like to pop in for just a minute. Would you like to just stay out here then and continue looking at the book?
like as like he kind of like takes the book back and kind of like leans in, looking in. He's like, I don't mind. I just don't want to deal with them anymore.
Understood.
And like as
You can stay here then.
he just kind of stands back and kind of like stays outside, like flipping through the book and everything.
And actually, it's been a little bit. Are you hungry at all? I'm a little thirsty. I got a little lost on my way and wandered around for a while. Haven't had anything to drink since breakfast.
Tanthil just kind of goes, I'll leave when we get back.
All right. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to ask.
Like,
Denied.
Holds up invisible thing.
Yes, it's magic.
I don't have Zoom up, I'll admit.
That water bottle's empty, so we're going to switch to this one.
I need to actually get some drink here in a minute. This is starting to actually taste almost warmish.
Drink. What you got there? Doesn't look like water.
This
Yeah. Apple juice.
Arnold Palmer. Just sweet tea and lemonade.
Oh,
No.
oh, the old man. The old dude. On the can. He's old and I don't know why he's on there.
Like Discord rights by chance.
is he?
there.
Who is he? Why
Arnold-
is he on that can? Did you create it?
It's Arnold Palmer. He's a golfer.
He's a golfer. You don't know this? Give it.
Do I
know
look
it.
like I care about golf?
I don't care
Right.
about golf,
I
but
don't
it's
know
just
who
random
he-
information.
It is.
I
No.
didn't know it either, so
I don't know. Isn't that all I know about golf? Is what was this? Happy Gilmore?
the best thing to know about golf.
Best
We're
thing.
And
getting
like
a little bit
old
of,
presidents like to do it.
What do we get in there, Otter?
you're getting a little bit of giving coming through on your end.
Still got her down to like
Getting a little
40.
bit of me going through your end.
13%.
All right, I'll drop her down to 38 now. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, as like you kind of like walk in there, Vita, you see a rather this elf with silvery gray hair, beard that a rather tight knit beard that just kind of barely poofs down just a tad bit. He's got rather thick, bushy eyebrows that are just kind of grayish and white. Hair that's also just kind of like on his ear and kind of just a little bit coming out. And as like you kind of like come in, he just looks at you and he's like, "Can I help you?"
I was wondering if you had any.
If I had
Sorry.
what? And he kind of like holds up his ears like, "Can you speak up? I'm
There's sound
rather-"
coming through another speaker. I was hearing a bunch of feedback there.
You're hearing
Um,
feedback.
Is that my end?
I was
Looks like
wondering.
it's coming from Gibbon.
Is
Is
it
it?
not playing through your headphones anymore?
It's playing through my headphones. Actually, I didn't hear audio, which is my USB will sometimes just like unplug itself even though it's fully plugged in. I had to like wiggle it.
Ah.
But that has nothing to do with you guys hearing because that was on Trail's end.
Try
But then
again,
right when
Ian.
that happens-
Say something. We'll see if it still pops up.
I was looking to.
Yeah,
No,
it's on
Trail's End.
It is.
And is it when Ayana talks?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Try it now.
I was looking to restock on like parchment, inks, and this seems to be the best shop that I can do that. And I spoke to someone just outside the door here. He had a book that was quite fascinating. Do you have any other books in that same?
Are you talking about the
Nature.
Temple of Nato?
Not only the Temple of Nato, but like any other sorts of digs and such.
I have no more books on the Temple of Nato. And when it
Just
comes to wizard shops, I'm not surprised. It's the only one here. Like he's just being just like overly front and just gruff.
It seems you've had a rough day. I do not wish to take much of your time.
You're already taking my time. So what would you
Well,
exactly?
it's a good thing your store is open then.
Uh,
So I'd like to buy my parchment, some ink, and I would like to see what books you have.
He just kind of like points over in general direction, which has got like this bookshelf with about 100 or so books. And he's like,
Fantastic. Thank you.
the books are over there. If you care for the parchment and ink, I will get you some here in a minute. And he just kind of like
Sure.
wanders off.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'm going to go and take a look at the books.
Like the books themselves are kind of ranging from like different like types of magic and everything, from conjuration to enchantment to evocation, to also of like deities and temples of such, and ancient civilizations that no longer are actually around on the continent that you are aware of. There's quite a few books though that pertain to dig sites and of lost, forgotten temples of kind of that border in the line of like mythology, of myths, essentially.
I'm going to take a look and see if there's anything that could potentially have to do with like Velstad, I believe the name was.
Velstan?
Yeah, for Velstad, looking, see if there's anything on the Eye of Avis, see if there's anything having to do with Valdis, in the deity section for Valdis, Morgana, and Shiva.
So you easily find a book on Morgana with ease. It actually literally is just the text. It's called The History of the Swamps of Morgana. Valdis, you also find, and it's the book title is just called In the Presence of Death Itself. When it comes to the Eye of Avis and Velstand, you actually don't find any books regarding of either of those things.
Okay, and any other digs or anything that more catch my interest?
Roll a perception.
13 plus 5 for 18.
You actually find another book that is of the Temple of Nato, actually.
I will take that.
Yeah. And as you're kind of like flipping through it, it's actually contradicting a lot of the book that Tanithil's got.
I'm going to take that book.
What?
That one right there. That's the one I want.
Like it's just like talking about like the temple itself, like whether where it's possibly located and how big it is and what is inside. Just completely contradicts what Tanithil had from a few just of the pages that you read.
Perfect. That sounds like something I'm interested in.
As you kind of are like looking through or reading these books and everything, Derek comes back, the elf, and he just kind of like drops parchment and ink on his countertop. He's just like, I've got your parchment and ink. Is there anything else you would like?
I've got 2 books here I would like to pick up. So I'm going to take them up to him, and I'm going to...
3 gold per book.
Perfect. And for the parchment and ink?
3 gold per book.
All right, so 6 gold total then for you?
If you're buying this many books, I will let you have the parchment and ink for free.
Oh, wonderful, good sir. So
Is there any... Okay. I'm sorry.
I will take up my coin purse and I will hand him the 6 gold.
He just kind of grabs it and puts it underneath like a jar that's like underneath this counter. And he's like, is there anything else I can do for you?
At this point, no. But I do hope your day gets better. Enjoy the rest of
in-
it.
It will in about 30 seconds. And he just kind of like wanders off.
Take care. So grab my stuff. I'm going.
Tanthil's just like outside, like kind of like peering through the window. And you come like, I would say, just come walking out.
Tanithil.
He was
I felt-
rude.
He was an unpleasant fellow. I will give you that.
Like I'm just saying, met ruder people in my time, but
I'm curious. Did you ask him about that book that you bought?
yes, I find it rather interesting. He's still kind of like flipping through it. At this
Did you
point.
did you ask the shop owner there about that book?
No?
Interesting. I found another one. Same topic.
He just kind of like grins. He's like, "Well, let me see." And like
Not
he just
now. Not now. Let's go find something to drink. Let's go sit down, have a snack or something. It's been a long day so far.
he kind of like begins like kind of like walking back in the direction of the tavern. And just like, we'll go chill at the tavern until the feast.
Sounds
Really?
great. Let's go.
And like as he's kind of like making back, other people in the actual like town have actually also kind of like began settling down. Some shops have actually already kind of like began like kind of like closing up early due to the grand feast. It's about to kind of like start kicking off here in a couple of hours. I take it that you guys can like get back to the tavern, which upon y'all's like arrival, Tantil's like kind of like going instantly to the barkeep and just asking for a tankard of water to drink. Which
Tanithil, get two. And I'm gonna go and sit at a table and go and start to and hold these books or that one book and start so we can look at it more in depth.
as he gets these, he kind of like comes back over and sets the tankard in front of you that's full of water, and he begins kind of like drinking his, and kind of begins to like instantly pressuring you about the book that you found, so you can start looking at it.
Take a look at yours first, because I think you're going to find something very interesting with this one.
He's like, I've already read like half of it. Come on.
Perfect. So I'm going to start basically, like, as I'm going through points, I'm going to ask him, what did that book say about, like, a first point there, a second point, third point, and see what it says, and then tell him what this one says, to start doing comparison of the two.
Like as like he begins like kind of like reading stuff off and everything, and you just kind of begin telling him that the other book is like saying exact opposite. You just kind of like see Tanitha just slowly just sinking in the chair.
We've got two opposite stories here. I'm curious to know where the truth is in this one.
He just goes, I hope my book's not worthless. That I just bought 5 gold for.
Oh, okay.
It was rather expensive, honestly. Just want to throw that out there. How much did you?
Let's go through and let's do a full comparison of these two, because I think something's up.
As y'all do this, I would say Garrick and Saphira are also kind of like arriving back at the tavern. Which Garrick actually doesn't actually sit with you guys. He actually kind of like goes to his own table to like kind of like chill. I take you kind of like tag along with him there, Saphira.
Yes.
Yeah. He chills for a little bit and gets something to drink for y'all knows that outside the sun has begun to set. It's beginning to turn to dust outside. And as this happens, you can kind of like begin seeing like townspeople are beginning to kind of like flock towards the great hall that is, I would say, probably about a 30-minute walk from where the tavern is.
I would like to say I would have kind of packed up and started heading towards the Great Hall a little early to try and see if they would let me play and try and find a good spot to set up there before everyone starts crowding in.
Okay. As like you kind of like get to the Great Hall, by the way, it's a rather large building. It's made of stone. That's gray. it towers, I would say, probably about 20 feet up easily. Stairs that lead up to the entrance. The doors themselves are 10 feet tall. A rather large or rather thick wood with you can see like metal bracings that are painted to kind of like blend in that holds those doors structured sound. As you kind of like walk up, the floor itself is of marble with pillars that line either side. And as you kind of like go in, you see large tables just stretch all the way down. This room where people are going to be eating at here in just a little bit with a kind of a open area in the center leading all the way down to where what appears to be in the back, a place for upper political officials to kind of like eat at is open for people to dance. The tables themselves are large. Each table is probably, I would say, 20 feet in length with benches just kind of like lined up for people to sit. And as you kind of like come in, you see multiple officials kind of like talking and like running around and just trying to like carry stuff in and begin sitting food along these tables for people to just kind of come up, sit, and eat at. One of which the people that you see is Rhea Ravenwood, who is directing Town's Guard all around, trying to like make sure like security is up and in good fashion. As she sees you kind of like enter, and she's like, "Oh, you came! I'm so glad!" And as she kind of like walks up to you.
Well, you did say this would be a good place to play some music.
That I did. I hope that you're willing to play. You can play for tips if you care, but if you're willing to play, we do have other bands that are coming into play as well. Just saying. But that being said, we're going to kind of rotate off and on. So if you're interested, we'd be willing to pay how about 20 gold an hour for the evening?
Well, shit. Sure.
Okay. Since we do have other bands, we're only going to give you probably about hour two at the most. So, if that's fine with you.
That is more than amenable.
As she says it, she kind of like points you in the direction of where all the other bands are kind of going to be. You kind of other see like other individuals carrying lutes and flutes. They're all just kind of out and about. They begin kind of like conversing as you kind of like walk up. A couple of the individuals are tabaxi elves. You actually see a dragonborn just kind of like sitting there just talking at this point and conversing on what they're going to be playing and in what order as you kind of like walk up. And they kind of ask you, if you don't mind me asking, what you are playing for the evening? The tabaxi asks.
I will kind of hold up the lyre. And some good eating music.
He goes,
Something a little up tempo.
He kind of begins shaking his head. He's like, all music is good for eating. He's like, I hope to be moved by what you play. As he kind of says, as he kind of turns back to the rest of the ones that he's with, they kind of begin going back to chatting to what they were talking about earlier.
Looks down at the horn on my hip. Some music is not for eating. Yes. While you're eating, to the noises of boo.
You actually do
that? No.
Oh. as you kind of begin like setting up inside the great hall, the sun is set. It's dark out, and I would say at this point, Garrick, or I would say at this point, Saphira, Garrick has gotten up and basically kind of mentions he's going to begin making his way to the great hall. Chanthil does the same there, Fida.
Both go.
And as you guys kind of like begin making y'all's way, we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Sounds good.
Because I will admit, I'm out of drink and I'm thirsty.
Fair enough.
Given's like, I know where I'm coming in, and you break right there.
Well, we will see everyone in 10 minutes then.
Yes.
See you soon.
See you soon. Welcome back. As we were saying, everyone, you guys are heading to the Great Hall, if I'm not mistaken, to go to this grand feast, which is for the town of Creighton is really just kind of like marking the end of the harvesting season for the actual town, and they yes chat. Anyway, that being said, it's kind of like just marking the end of the harvesting season. It's at this point the sun is down; it's dark outside. If you look up, the sky is cloudless. The stars are shimmering down. The moon is full. As you guys are kind of making your way towards the Great Hall, there's a certain individual watching from the distance. I would say kind of hovering or sitting on top of the wall that kind of stretches around Creighton. Given you, I would say from a distance, are seeing quite a few individuals begin making their way towards what you see a rather large building off in the distance. The wall that you are at can actually see the dock quarters, the harbor district in actual Creighton. And you can actually see the grotto, the tavern, from where you're at. The wall stands about 20 feet up. That you've kind of managed to kind of crawl up and climb up and kind of perch yourself on. You see buildings with lights kind of like turning off as people are heading there. I'm curious, what are you doing?
Wait, I'm looking.
You are looking.
Okay. Look down, and then she's just gonna stand up and pop off, just just land.
Just kind of like pop off. Are you trying to be stealthy by chance?
Nope.
Okay. I take you're gonna follow the group or the crowd and everything, or you just wanted to kind of stand back. And just watch?
She's just going to. It's like cautious curiosity and excitement. She's gonna run, and then when she sees something that's like just unfamiliar, like a lamp, she's like, looks at it. Oh, focus.
Yes.
And then runs. Black hat, red feather.
As you kind of begin
Running around. If she sees someone that's wearing all black, she like grabs him, looks at him, looks down. No, pushes away, runs. No, runs, push.
So you start like kind of like grabbing individuals and like starting to like kind of like check them and everything.
That have like black hats or anything that looks similar to that gentleman that's tall, pale, black hat with a red feather, wearing all black.
That you're chasing after, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like as you're kind of like doing this, like as you're like kind of like running up to individuals, like kind of like pulling at them, they're stunned to like just see this bird just kind of like walking up wearing robes, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Pretty much.
They're just like grabbing and like kind of like looking at them and then just like running off. Eventually, like one of the people is just kind of like, get off me, and just kind of like goes to like push you to a certain.
You're not the one. Runs.
Like after a while, like a couple of like townsguard have also kind of like began like kind of like watching you because you're like kind of like frantically moving through the
Why
crowd.
see anything shiny and pretty in any of the stores?
I would say that you do like see a couple of
whatever it is, she's gonna stop. And she's going to look at it, and she's gonna run straight up to the window, run into it, and then look at it.
You see, like, you do actually find a jewelry shop eventually. It's not very big. It's one window with a single door. It's like kind of like look in. You can see like on the other side, a countertop of like a glass of like rings and earrings, necklaces and amulets, just kind of like sitting inside.
Dum, dum.
Like after a while, like majority of the town's guard have actually kind of like moved towards the Great Hall. And what you find, what is actually near you that kind of like calls out to you is actually an Ashland soldier. And just kind of like goes, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And just kind of like, it's like you kind of like
He doesn't.
up into this, and you kind of begin hearing like two individuals like kind of like walking up to you. These Ashland soldiers are wearing, I would say, chainmail with a helmet. Their armor is blue with silver linings. The blue is actually of the royal family of the Darrington family. The silver marks the color of Laron Norvag, which is an ancient person of the Aramor civilization. Anyway,
Yep. Of the.
I realized what I did there. So anyway, as like they're kind of like walking up, they're just blue and silver armor, and they're just kind of like, "Oi, what are you doing there?" And just kind of like, they aren't like grabbing their weapons or anything. They don't find you threatening.
They talking to me. I'm still looking at the. I'm not facing them. I'm just looking.
One of them eventually kind of like calls out to you. He's like, "Hey, get off the glass. You can crack it. If you wish to pay for what you break, that is one thing." And
Turns
it's like,
around. Just kind of looks at him. And then kind of like looks and starts rambling. Black cat, black cat. Crazy. Notice. And then she kind of walks towards them and just kind of walks past them, just like right between them, and just keeps doing what she's doing, ignoring them. And just keeps going.
One of the guards or soldiers just kind of like looks at the other with a very confused look, and they kind of just begin following you, like out of just concern, because they don't know what you're doing. I would say at this
We're
point,
already getting arrested.
Episode 1. Saving a bird from jail.
Saving a bird from jail. I would say
Gets caged.
I would say at this point, you guys have like made it to the Great Hall, and as like you're kind of like coming in, you see quite a few people that are wearing like very colorful robes that Iona, you and Tanathil, and you yourself, Emerald, know kind of mark nobility to a certain extent, and possibly where they're from due to the color and the patterns of which they are wearing. You see quite a few people begin kind of like sitting at tables and already kind of like begin digging into food. You also see quite a few townsguard in the actual in the Great Hall. You also see at one point Rhea Ravenwood, who's kind of off to the side. She kind of like is smiling, beaming from I would say a just kind of happy that things are going rather smooth. And you kind of begin seeing her just kind of like looking back and forth across the crowd. And then she just kind of like at one point, she just kind of hovers over and stares in a certain spot and just kind of smiles. But the smile is different. Something has caught her eye to a certain extent. And she just kind of smiles in that general direction, then moves on. As if kind of to make sure no one notices to a certain extent. You also see other individuals that are kind of traversing through the Great Hall. You there, Iona, notice Derek from the wizard shop from earlier. He himself is at this point like kind of like at the end of the table, just slowly eating at some corn, rather delicately, might I add.
One at a time.
Pretty much. Pretty much. You there, Saphira, you actually notice Korak, who's just digging into some chicken and just kind of basically just whole legs, just eating it all at once. Garrick is kind of with you, and he's just kind of like looking at everything. He's like, we didn't actually inquire what that guy's the advisor person, what he looked like, did we?
No. By the way, she's been, if we're passing lots of people at this point, she's been asking random people if they've ever heard of Awen Woods.
I would say like after like about the third or fourth time, Garrick is like,
Have you heard of my Lord Jesus Christ?
Garrick is just like, go, are you trying to get us like question for just how should I say being a bit of a disturbance or bringing suspicion of no need? Just want to ask.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Just ask your questions. He just kind of like goes back to like
Turns to ask another person.
after a while, like Tanathil is like automatically just kind of like eating and everything. Rhea is at this point, like you see her just kind of like going to a couple of the other townsguard, and they kind of like wander off and go to another part of the actual Great Hall. You there, Saphira, at one point, like I would say, like as you kind of like get inside the Great Hall, you see quite a few like political figures like sitting in the back, kind of like eating and everything.
Sorry. Didn't realize that was going to pop through.
Yep. Sorry.
No worries.
But yeah. So back to you there, Kevin. You're kind of like traversing through the town. Got a couple of soldiers kind of like following you from a distance because they're just wondering what you're doing.
If I find another cool window, I'm just gonna look at it and not touch it, but just kind of like hover over it and just in a deep man's voice be like, "Oh, awesome, so cool." It keeps going.
Roll perception.
That's my dice is over here. I don't know what I was looking for. Oh, what's my number? Perception. What is 12 plus 4? 16.
As you're kind of like moving through the town and everything, and like peering in through shops, at one point you hear off to your left, I would say probably about 40 yards, the crash of what appears to possibly be maybe a barrel with some stuff inside. It just kind of just catches your attention, like as you're just kind of like checking out this shop, while everything else around you is quiet, hardly any moving. No other people are around, minus the two soldiers that are behind you, which they actually kind of also hear that crash, and they just like they kind of like turn and look in that direction.
Dum, 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 dum. Hello?
You just kind of
Dum, dum, dum.
I think you're just kind of like taking the shop has your undivided attention, I take it.
Yeah.
Like as like you're kind of like still like just checking out this shop, the soldiers kind of like wander off and head towards like the sounds of this.
Oh, I thought the sound was like in the. Oh, it's 40 yards.
No,
Okay.
40 yards
Okay.
to your left.
It's like hello. But then I want to go to the sound.
Oh. Okay, so
And
you're
then
going
if it's inside a building, I would like to knock on the building.
okay, so you are going to the sound.
Yes.
Okay, I was like, all right, so just focus on
Just
the
go,
building.
hi.
And you're just like, oh no, I'm focused on the sound. I'm like,
Look at a
I
cute
did say 40
face.
yards, right?
I don't know distance. How freaking I don't know. Who
What
uses
are-
yards?
What are numbers?
How big is a yard again? I don't know.
How about let's give it 120 feet? How's that?
Thank you. I like that. That makes more sense to me. I don't understand yards because a yard is really big. You know, a front yard is pretty big. So I don't understand the measurement of a yard. Why is it called a yard when it's not as big as a yard? Just use a
David,
foot.
question. If I had said 40 meters, would that have helped?
Yeah, I prefer the feet though. If it's smaller, it helps me.
Meters and yards are the same. That's what I was asking.
Okay, because I don't
Close.
know. Meter sounds, I don't know. Feet,
Otter, you were just
I can
laughing
see
there,
that.
by the way. You were like, oh my god.
A yard is 3 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yard's 3
Feet is
feet.
a meter.
3 feet.
What?
It's a little bit
Then
bigger,
why
but
call
yeah.
it a yard? That's not a meter.
A meter is actually bigger than a yard
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
by a
meter-
small amount.
Yeah, it's like what, 3.14, something like that. It's really damn.
That is pi.
That's
No, it's
fine.
actually like it's in the same ballpark. Like it's literally like why are we talking about anyway? So 120 feet.
Math.
Oh
Math.
yeah, I'm gonna go there.
Suddenly, everyone has a headache, and no one knows why.
No one knows why. So 120 feet. So like you kind of like I think you kind of head in that direction.
Yeah.
Like as you kind of like head in that direction, a couple of the soldiers like they follow behind you. They're not even gonna move as quick as you because of the armor that they're wearing. And it's like
she's gonna turn and be like, "Let's go!" Whee! And then runs.
like, as you kind of
Keep
like go
going.
down a couple of these like shops and everything, like you finally get to the alleyway, of which this crate that was like turned over and everything is dumped over. Inside the crate is a bunch of like scrap metal and everything. Combined,
Yeah.
probably was over 200 pounds.
Gonna just kind of scooch it with her feet or cannons. Kind of look at anything interesting. Just scrap metal.
Roll investigation.
Mm. Investigation. 15.
As you're like looking at the ground and scrap metal and everything, kind of realizing that whatever just knocked this over either is really strong or is just moving at a really quick speed because it's 200 pounds. It wouldn't just not, it would just wouldn't fall over for nothing. You also see deep cut marks into the stone path that is away from the scrap metal that just fell over, heading towards the direction of the Great Hall.
Black hat, red feather? Black hat, red feather. Yeah. Picks up some of the scrap metal, clanks it, cling, 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 and mimics it, cling, 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 throws it behind them, hopefully hitting the guards maybe on accident, I don't know. And runs towards the hall.
As you kind of like throw the scrap metal behind, a couple of the soldiers kind of like move out of the way.
And she's running down making that clinking noise. Clink, 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 clink,
Like moving in that direction. Are you moving as fast as you can?
Yeah, I'm running.
Okay. Roll a perception. While she's doing that, you guys that are still in the Great
Natural
Hall,
20, so 24.
as you guys are still in the Great Hall, y'all notice at one point, Rhea Ravenwood kind of like turns and looks in that general direction that she had smiled earlier and kind of gazed at for a moment, and then kind of disappears off to the side, leaving the Great Hall behind. As she does, another individual kind of comes into the actual Great Hall, an older lady with blackish gray hair, appears to be about in her mid-50s, wearing what appears to be a a blue and red coat with silver embroiderings down, kind of wrapping around down her chest. She has a sword on her left side that is also got blue and red emeralds kind of like around it. She's got what also appears to be kind of like armor paddings, both kind of like on top on either side of her. A rather, from what you know, Emerald and Vita, royal military wear garb, essentially. As she kind of like comes in at the front entrance and begins kind of like making her way across the hall towards the back. One of the guards that you hear in the back kind of mention about Kilveth not supposed to being there. That she and the military guard or soldiers were guarding the outer perimeter of the town. As you're making your way there towards the Great Hall there, given you are seeing more cuts inside of the ground leading towards the Great Hall.
Is it like claw cuts or like scrape of something like heavy?
Claw, I would say, like basically like as if you took like 3 knives and dug it into it and then pulled
Okay.
into the ground.
Okay.
You see what appears to just be kind of like repeating step patterns of this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But whatever is causing this, because you know you're following in the right direction, you can't keep up. Roll perception.
20 total.
You actually at one point see it in the distance. This black figure, it's just kind of lanky looking to a certain extent, but yet a little bit of a wide torso, and the arms have what you can see a little bit of muscular tone to them. Still just long in length. Off in the distance, from what you know and from what you can gather, at first it probably was 40 yards away from you when it passed those crates. But even though you've been running at it at full speed, kind of like following it, it's probably at this point 80 yards from you. It's gained in distance.
I keep following it, but I stop my clink noise.
Okay. As you follow it and you get closer to the Great Hall, you come to the actual entrance. Like you follow this thing directly there. I want you to roll another perception.
Wait, 15, 16, 17. Sorry, I'm bad at mental math.
All good.
17.
As like you kind of like get closer to the entrance, and right before you get there, the trail disappears. Like it just vanishes. Whatever is heading in this direction is, from what you can tell, no longer trying to leave tracks behind.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's not going to slow down her speed, and she's going to burst through the doors like boom.
You're gonna head straight towards the door.
Yep, and just
As like you just as you kind of like hit the front part of like the Great Hall, like as you're kind of like running past what appears to be kind of like an open courtyard area with like kind of like a bit of a fountain of water kind of coming out and streaming out. Surrounding buildings are just kind of like that are of houses essentially that people stay at, and you can also see on either side of this Great Hall like a bit of a garden to a certain extent with trees and everything kind of like growing tall. You just heading towards the entrance of the Great Hall. And as you do, you actually pass a woman with brown hair and brown eyes, about 5'10", wearing red and silver a red and silver uniform. You see her with a lady, and they're just kind of walking as you're running past them towards the entrance. They're walking up towards the fountain. They actually do kind of like take a look at you as you run past and instantly burst open the doors to the Great Hall as they've kind of like sat. The distance between the fountain and the Great Hall, I would say, is I would say about also 120 feet in distance. And as you kind of like open and kind of like look through, like in the back, you can see a couple of the political figures just kind of like automatically just in their chair, just kind of like standing up and looking as this bird is just. I would still say, if I'm not mistaken, you're still somewhat dirty from your travels, correct? Covered in ash and everything.
Ash.
Ash.
I mean,
dirt.
I would have probably shaked it off on going there because it was a good journey. I would have actually probably maybe preened a little bit.
Okay. But as like kind of like burst in, they do take notice to you, and they just kind of like look at you as you kind of like burst the door. Saphira,
Do I
Theta.
see the black creature though? Anything?
No, you did not see the creature as you were coming up.
Well, I stand there. Look outside. Then I turn around and I go, and I said, kind of wandering around a little bit.
As Saphira, Theta,
to myself.
Emerald, you actually notice this bird just kind of like bursting through the front door. As you do get to the front door, though, and you kind of begin looking around and everything, you instantly hear the scream of an individual behind you. Just a as like you turn around, the two women that were on the fountain, sitting at the fountain talking, one of which like has a like knife like instantly in her shoulder, that's I would say probably about almost I wouldn't say it's a knife, it's more of a long dagger, about 2 feet in length,
Sticking through the other side.
sticking through her shoulder, about this long, just sticking through her shoulder. The blade is coming out the back end. The front part, it looks like someone just took basically a bar of metal and just made a long blade. And it's not even perfectly well made. There's indentation and everything. It's just sticking
That's
through.
usually how blades are made.
What do you say?
He's,
Oh,
he
I'm
said that's
sorry.
usually how blades are made.
I'm talking like, okay, so you know like a blade is usually when they're done, they're smooth. This one's not smooth. It's indented. There's like it's uneven. It's not
Like it's
jagged.
not finished being.
So it's more of like a bar
polished.
of ore than it is like metal.
It's
I mean,
still
it's metal.
hammered.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah, like-
hammered out, but not finished.
correct.
Sure. Cool.
Sorry, I was trying to describe
Oh
that.
no, you're
No,
good.
no, you're
it
fine.
just it took over my whole brain for a second. I was like, wait. That's all
Sharp
blades.
peppermint. Like,
I mean, it's all blade, but it looks unfinished.
Okay, cool. No, you're good. Sorry. Continue.
This is going online.
Yes. It's great.
Soon it'll be live at some point.
Oh god, I'm not looking forward to it.
This
No.
is the D&D experience. It's chaos.
I will eventually get better at this as due time.
You're doing
Anyway,
great.
You're doing fine.
I love
as,
it.
as it like it, you can see this blade just sticking out this woman and just what do you do?
I run towards, and clank noise. Clank,
Like
clank,
as
clank,
you
clank,
are
clank.
running towards her, like the people in the very far back of this great hall like instantly take notice that you just like instantly bolt out. They heard something, kind of. I need Saphira, Theta, and Emerald to also roll perception.
Am I playing at this time, or am I just wandering about?
16 total.
I would say you are
You
playing.
intensify the music.
I would say roll perception probably with disadvantage because of the music.
That's what I was asking. I wanted to make sure, because if I'm playing, I'm probably not super paying attention.
Yeah.
19 total.
I am very much paying attention to my music. That's a 9.
So, like, Barry, you hear the scream coming from outside, just barely. So do Silphir and Night Stalker. Garrick is currently eating and kind of takes notice of only you. I'm pretty sure is like looking in that general direction.
She's going to immediately turn to him and say, "Wait here." Ears perked up, and she's gonna get up, leave the sack with him, grab the axe, and run towards the door.
Fido, what about
16
you?
total. It was a 16 total.
You also actually heard the scream at distance. Tanthil is at this point, like you can see him off in the distance, like trying to talk to some of like the political advisors that are just like or political officials like up on the thing, and they're just like some of the town's guard are just like trying to calm Tanthil down. He's like trying to talk, and they're just like
energetic.
These individuals. He's probably a good like 30 feet away from them.
I don't think I would see anyone grabbing weapons and heading to the door with that roll, but I'll leave that to you.
I would say that you wouldn't have heard the scream, but you would notice like individuals kind of like getting up and leaving.
Saphira probably does tower over most people.
You do.
With weapons?
Oh yeah, there's an axe on her shoulder.
Yeah.
A large axe.
Just, would I see the weapon, or just them leaving?
You would just notice that they're leaving.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like you're more focused on your music, so you don't notice if it's like of importance. Fida, did you say that you're heading towards there as well?
I am going to get up and I'm going to go and head towards the door and just take a look at what's going on.
Okay. I would say that like as y'all are getting up and beginning to head towards there, Given, you said you're bolting towards the two women?
Yes.
Okay, roll perception.
Ah. Oh, that's that one. I got cat balls. Gosh darn it.
As like you're kind of like running towards this woman, you just see this blade just right through the air and just lodge in this lady's chest. Blood and just
Which lady? Like which one? Who
All
did
right.
the stabbing?
sorry. The brown-haired, brown-eyed woman wearing the red and silver town's garb is the one that's currently holding the other woman. The other woman is blonde-haired, blue-eyed, barely over 5'6" tall, thin, wearing regular town's garb, just regular uniform, nothing special. As she's the one that's currently got a blade in her chest. As blood begins kind of oozing out of her mouth, you can see like she's kind of like choking at this point.
And she's also the one with the long dagger in her shoulder, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And as she's just choking, blood is just kind of like spewing out. And after a minute, you can just kind of like see her head just kind of like roll back. And you can see their chest is no longer moving as you run up towards her.
How? Like, am I getting close?
Yeah, I'd say you're there at this point.
I want to jump and like do like the tornado roundhouse kick straight to the side of that other woman's head. The brown-haired one. The one that's stabbing.
You do know that I said that the blade came off, like, just out of nowhere and hit into this woman, right?
It wasn't the other lady stabbing her. This came out of the darkness
Like,
and
just
hit her.
out of darkness and hit
It was
this woman.
thrown.
I'm still going to hit her.
Okay, roll attack.
I'm just going
Engaged.
I go. I said what I said. That's what I think I saw.
Drink. That's not vodka.
I don't think my water is strong enough for what's about to happen.
Okay.
I thought we were joking about jail, but we might be there.
All right.
Engaged.
8 plus 7, 15?
That hits. Roll damage.
Don't worry, it's not a lot. It's just an unarmed strike.
Rolls max damage.
It's 3 plus 5. 8.
Like, as like you're just running across.
Oh no!
This woman who was just cradling the other that just died is just sent back into the actual fountain and just collapses on her back. Air just knocked from her as like she's just like looking up into the sky. The other woman who's dead, blood is just pulling into both the fountain and onto the ground, with 2 large, like long daggers in her chest and 1 in her shoulder. Roll initiative? Yeah, just roll initiative.
All of us?
No, just Kevin.
Okay.
Initiative against an old lady.
No, it's Rhea Ravenwood who she just hit.
Yeah, I got a
That's what
I got a 12.
All right,
I
give
got
him
a
what you
12.
The head
Hey,
of the
what you
town
think you
scar?
see is
Yes.
Okay.
I
This is where
pick-
we're at.
I
what
pick
you
up,
thought you saw is what you thought you saw.
I pick up the dead lady and like pull her back and just be like, no.
roll a strength.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Wait.
Yeah, he's gonna see if you can pick her up.
Dude, I'm at the okay.
She's almost as strong as Saphira.
I got a freaking 17.
You just instantly grab this small bird, just
16 strength.
picks her up, just barely, just like moving away.
No.
And as you do, the woman that like fell into the water instantly gets up, pulls out her sword, and just holds it like to you and says, "You let her go. You let her go now." Like just
Why?
holding a sword at you, at your
Why?
throat. As you say this, Given, you can actually hear,
Killed.
like as she says it, you can hear in the distance there, Given, people of, I would say there, Saphira, people have begun to run in the general direction towards the commotion at the fountain. I would say that you would as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So people are like bolting towards this. And as like you're kind of like talking to this woman there, Given, she's holding up her sword at you and going, "Do you think I would?" And she just holds her sword. Her sword is trembling. Her eyes are just fire in nature.
I noticed her trembling. Like,
Yes, I would say you notice.
I look down and realize what this looks like. And I put it down gently.
As like she's just holding her
She
sword,
just-
and like you begin like putting the woman down, the lady kind of begins kind of pulling back her sword.
Not you?
She just kind of like looks down at the one that is dead. You just see her stare at her. She doesn't respond. Her sword, like kind of like the edge, the tip hits the ground, and then she just drops it. And then she just falls to her knees. And she just begins to tear up.
I run to
Say,
her
"Why?"
and I crouch and I look. Why?
And as she says this, quite a few people have arrived at the commotion of the fountain. And
As Saphira's coming out and seeing this, can she see anyone else in the area? Or
roll
I
a perception.
imagine not hear over everyone else, but 22.
Off in the distance, to your right, which would have been the Great Hall's left, on the roof, I'd say no more than 60 feet away on the top, you can see what appears to be the head of a being? Creature? Maybe? Kinda up. And then begin to sink down or just kind of move out of the way, trying to be stealthy.
She's going to follow it. How far away is it, roughly?
60 feet.
She's going to turn invisible and sprint straight towards it. Full movement.
Stalker.
Okay.
Invisible stalker.
As you kind of bolt off in that general direction towards what you just saw, Kilveth, the woman that I mentioned earlier that y'all saw, that the guards were kind of talking about, kind of like walks up and just kind of begins like looking around and goes, "What's happened here?" As like she just abrasively just kind of like inserts herself into the situation. Tanithil finally, like seeing everything, is also there, by the way, with you, Vita. And Kelveth just kind of like looks at you there, Given, and then back towards Rhea, and she's like, "I won't ask again. What's happened?" Rhea is just on the ground on her knees, crying.
It's trying to figure out words to say. I have no idea.
Kelveth just looks towards Rhea and goes, "I want the guards to grab the body. Rhea, you and the bird come with me." And she instructs you to come with her. There. Cricket.
Oh, she like kind of just is looking around like, oh, me. And goes with him.
Tanithil, at this point, like catching up to you there, Fida, just kind of gets up behind you. And I would say that you guys kind of like make y'all's way through the crowd to like kind of like see what's going on.
Mhm.
As you guys kind of like get up to the crowd, like Tanithil at like kind of whispers behind you, "What the like?" Goes, "What the hell happened here?"
Did I see
Roll
anything that
perception,
didn't get
Fida.
21?
Roll a stealth there, by the way, Saphira.
Okay.
Would Emerald be here if like the whole crowd or whatever from the dining hall?
Question:
last
would you
time?
follow?
22.
If I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
everyone start flooding out of the hall, there's really no reason for me to sit here and play music to an empty hall. I probably would have.
You play
Picked
music
up.
along the way.
picked up my shield, put the lyre away, and started heading out.
Okay. Like I would say you're kind of like behind the back of the crowd. Kind of like falling behind. Fida, you just when Tanthel asks you like the hell happened here, you don't notice Saphira, who I would say is just kind of like off to your right, going invisible and walking off. You don't notice that.
Oh, no, she's sprinting.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. I was just saying.
Okay.
I would have figured you would have like went invisible, took a couple of steps, and then sprinted.
Well, yeah.
So
I'll fill in Tanithil on the bits that I've seen so far because I know he had been in the back talking more, and I had gone to the door.
like automatically, like you see Tanithil like trying to like follow the body to like kind of like look at the long daggers, and I would say that you would at least notice the daggers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up close, like as close as we can go to take a look and just like see what we can see closer up.
The long daggers that are inside this body are black with a red aura kind of like shimmering through, with some also multi-discoloration just throughout the blade itself. Roll a Arcana check there, Vita.
With my strong points. That is an 8 total.
Had to say so.
You and Tanithil both are just kind of puzzled as to what made these blades. You rolled a 5.
I'm going to take out a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm going to draw a quick picture of each of them.
Tanithil's going to do the same. Saphira, you're moving at full blast, right? Trying to catch up?
Yes, but the invisibility only lasts until my next turn.
Roll in athletics.
Okie dokie. 18.
I would say that you follow the thing. Oh, wait, hold up. Yeah, no, actually, it'll be all right. I would say you're actually able to follow this thing quite a distance. You leave the Great Hall behind briefly to try and follow this thing, and eventually you stumble upon, after I would say a good 100 yards away from everybody, a creature that's not moving as fast through the town. It is cut towards the northern end, like it's starting to make its way towards the north. You're also gaining on it quite a bit.
Can she tell what it looks like?
It stands almost 6 feet in height. It's black, a demonic color. The face is long. You can't see the front of it, but you can see at least the head, knowing that the face is long. The arms themselves are muscle toned with long knives at like the fingers. The feet itself, just you can see like as it hits, the front parts dig in like a knife, and it's just moving at a quick pace, but not, how should I say, as if it's in a state of emergency or
It's just essentially trotting along.
Yeah.
She's gonna keep chasing it.
Are you gonna try and catch up to it, or you just want to stay at a distance?
If she can get decently close, she'll stay at a distance.
Stealthily?
Yeah.
Roll stealth.
The same one earlier or another one?
Different one.
Okay. Natural 20 puts it at 23.
23. Dang. So like as like you're just like keeping up with it, You're doing pretty good. And you see the creature just kind of like for a brief moment and then bolt off to the side, like down an alleyway.
She'll try to follow it.
Roll a perception.
Broker indeed.
18.
Okay. As like you kind of like turn down the alleyway, you notice like on the ground there's claw marks that turn off to your right at the building. And as you kind of like turn and look, the face of the creature just instantly is like right there at you.
She's immediately going to
Its
eyes
teeth,
begin to glow.
the teeth of this creature is just jagged and just
Teeth are bared.
kind of roars at you. What do you do?
Yeah. Her eyes are immediately gonna start glowing and she's gonna reach for the throat. Try and like the wall is behind it.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's gonna try and pin it up against the wall.
Roll a strength.
My God.
18.
Yeah. Like as you go, its right arm just digs into the wall and then just turns itself completely and latches on with its left as it then swipes with your right. That's not hitting at all. Like as it does, you're able to instantly like see it come and just kind of like step back, and its arm just like instantly latches into the wall. Roll initiative.
Oh boy.
I roundhouse kicked a
19.
guard. You're fighting some demon in the back alley.
The head guard, no less.
To be fair, literally given you failed the perception check by just a few, so like this would have
Really?
been you.
I got
Yeah,
a,
this is huh?
I got a natural 1 on the wait. Oh, for that creature. Wait. Which
Yeah.
perception check?
Like the one to the upper right. Like you rolled a 1, it rolled a 2.
Oh.
Like the dice
Oh
roll.
man.
So like, had you just rolled any higher? So anyway, it's actually going first. I don't know why I'm even pausing.
It beat a 19.
Yeah,
Okay.
they rolled a 19 flat, and then or a
Oh.
19 off the dice roll.
Damn. Yeah.
So it automatically just swings out with the right arm again, just aiming right for your throat as like you kind of like step back. You can see like it's just kind of like not being overly aggressive, but it's still attacking. Your turn.
You said it's about 6 foot tall?
Yep.
Yeah, she's gonna try and pin it again. By the arms specifically this time.
Roll a strength.
22.
Like you, oh, you're gonna grab it by the arms.
Yeah, trying to pin its arms against the walls so
Like-
it won't swing again.
As you do, like you just instantly grab the arms. The creature's arms just like go up and just instantly bolt. Its feet just instantly kick out. Are you moving or anything by chance?
No.
Okay. Like as like its feet instantly like kicks out. They go for a hit, and that no. Like as like the feet kick out, like you're able to just kind of like move the creature off to the side, just barely as like the feet just right between like your lower torso area, as you just kind of like you're struggling with this thing to like keep it steady.
If she can keep a grasp on it, she's followed it several hundred yards, you said?
Yeah, it's. I would say you're over 300 yards away from the Great Hall.
she's going to try and howl to attract attention
Okay.
and force it to the ground.
Okay. On your turn. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to, I didn't try and like go against that strength check last turn. So yeah, you're able to just kind of like move the creature to the ground.
Yeah, I think it's an action to maintain it on my turn, and they can try and break it on theirs.
Yeah. So, yeah. So just grab the creature and just onto the ground. And is that what you're doing for the turn?
Yeah, other than the howl and that's it.
Yep. Strength check. Just gotta try and break free.
Hard natural 20.
Damn.
So
Jesus
26.
So like the
Boy, I'm rolling great.
The creature
For
just
now.
like tries to move, and you're just holding it down like as it's trying. And as like you make that like that howl, you can hear in the distance, but it is far away from you.
Then you ask
Silver
it, do you
and
know the woods?
Night Stalker. Your turn.
Oh, Trail, did you miss that?
I did.
She said, and then you ask it, do you know the woods?
Do you know those woods?
You know those words.
Have you seen my mommy?
Is there anything nearby at all? Barrel, rope, anything?
Roll perception.
13. Nope, 15.
I would say that you actually can see a couple of crates like nearby that you can kind of like try and drag the creature to.
That might be big enough.
That might be big.
Okay, yeah, she'll try and drag it over to that.
Okay. I am going to have you roll another strength check as you're moving like this.
Thank fuck for advantage, because that was a 1 and a 20. So another 26.
Another natural 20.
I'm real glad I'm raging.
You have like extreme dice here.
Oh, I didn't even know you were raging. I didn't hear you say it.
That was the eyes glowing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
as
you're
like the
you're,
fourth turn.
You've still got a distance though to this crate that I would say is still probably about you've been able to like drag this creature, I would say 30 feet, and then you still got about another 10 to go, and it's just putting up a fight on its turn to break free. So strength check again.
Mm-hmm. Oops.
Why are all these fights with us like strength checks at this point?
I know.
I don't know.
My
Saphira was
makes
not meant
sense
to be
with
a
all the strength.
grappler.
It's like, my
Saphira
goodness.
likes to just hold on to stuff.
Right?
Yes.
He's
She
never
just
gonna
wants to
give you
cuddle.
one- never gonna let
It's a
you down.
23.
It actually broke that one finally.
Oh fuck.
Like as like you do, like the leg just, and like you realize like if you don't let go, these legs are just gonna like do it. Just flips and just instantly like kind of like pushes back from you. It instantly like moves up along the wall away from you. About I would say 35 feet.
It straight climbed up the wall?
Yeah, like with its like basically like knife legs and arms and everything, just up.
She's gonna pull out the bow and try and shoot at it.
Roll an attack roll. By the way, if you're wondering what you're fighting there,
What it looks like?
Yeah.
Freaking knife hands. It's Edward Scissorhands' cousin.
Yep. Me just water.
+5. 18 to hit.
That's what you're fighting, by the way. I got to roll 20 for you.
Oh, I thought.
Oh my
I
god.
See the otter just put at the same time you said that.
He did. That-
I was like,
Wait,
Really?
what did you put? Where?
Spider-Man.
Otter put a Spider-Man gif with Deadpool on his back.
And it
Right when you said you
exploded.
posted that.
Yes, and I was like, "You're joking," but I hope you're not joking.
What'd you roll there?
18 to hit.
18?
Yes.
That does hit. Roll for damage.
Where? You said
Where
it's
in roll 20?
What?
Yeah, I
You
don't see it in
You
Roll20.
don't see it at all. It's
Oh, did
probably
I
in the
not?
player.
7 damage.
Oh, it would help if I had you guys on the right thing.
I might
On the
have
right map. Oh, hello.
Oh, that's hot.
Lovely.
Like as you like, it just instantly like kind of like digs into the creature, and the creature just rips it out instantly, and just lets go. Like you can just see like it's had it with you. Its feet just instantly like dig into the wall, and just both arms flail out. And as they do, you can just see blood just come out of the creature's skin and spin around the arm and form into this metallic blade. And as it does, it just releases from the creature's body directly at you, two of which. I'm glad you're raging.
Critical?
Yeah,
Both of them?
Oh no.
that's one. And the other one's a nat one, so thank God.
Oh,
Up and down, up and down, up and down. No in betweens.
Anyway,
does that stand
7 plus 4 is
Math.
yeah, math is hard. 12, so
Love
6
that.
total for you.
7 plus 4.
6 is halved.
Yep, 6 is half.
Okay.
It just right in your shoulder as it like just kind of like digs in, and the creature then just and like its eyes just kind of like glow. I need you to make a con save.
Oh, sure. That's the wrong dice.
oh my gosh, it's covered in cooties.
That's straight constitution 15.
Like you feel like for a brief moment, like you just kind of like get like weak for a second. You're able to just kind of like instantly like fight it off, and you're good. And at this point, the creature just instantly begins pulling away. It just climbs up the wall 40 more feet away from you.
How far from the roof is it?
On this one, I would say it's actually right at the edge of the roof. This is actually about a 4-story building that it's next to.
Yeah, she's gonna fire one more time.
Roll on attack roll.
Trying to get another shot before it vanishes over the rooftop is another 22.
22. That hits. Roll damage.
Sophia
I
being
thought
a
that said
beast.
0 for a second. I was like, what? 9.
9 damage. Like
Yeah.
it just instantly like hits back into the other shoulder. Creature yet again just rips it out. And as it's like crawling over the roof, it sends out 2 more just knives, just blood coming from its arms, just forming into a blade and sending it at you. That's not it. I know for a fact. Neither is that one. Like both just fly like right past your head as the creature's up and over the roof and just bolts. You can hear in the distance it moving across the
Roof to roof.
rooftops. But as you can tell, it's moving from roof to roof, and you can tell it's just gaining a huge amount of distance.
She doesn't have a way to get up there very easily, so she's going to grab any of those blades if they're still there that were thrown at her.
Yeah.
And start heading back.
Okay. And as you come back, eventually Sylphir and Night Stalker kind of meet up with you. As you're heading towards where the fountain, the Great Hall is, Garrick runs into you and he sees the wounds and the long daggers.
Does he have the sack with him?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
This little
He's just
gnome
dragging it along.
is just dragging it along.
She will immediately pick it up from him so he doesn't have to drag it and thank him for bringing it along.
He just goes, "What was it?"
Something I've never seen before. It created these and threw them at me.
He just kind of grabs them, begins looking at them. I don't know what these are either. As he says this, Otter, you finally, you got to the fountain and can see blood just pulled up on the ground, blood in the fountain as well, just kind of moving about. As you do get there, you see Cricket and Rhea Ravenblood being escorted away by a Kilveth Shield Reaver. I would have naturally assumed that you would have learned of this person while you were playing for music, since you would have talked with possibly a couple of the Townsguard waiting for you to play, and they would have mentioned that, or at least Rhea would before you went up to talk, just prior to all this occurring. Fida, you and Tanithil are kind of sketching this blade down that y'all just saw. And Tanithil just kind of goes, I'm not one for speculation, but did we just see a murder take place?
It does look that way.
Question, is the body with the daggers already gone by the time I show up?
I would say that the body is being taken away with Cricket and Rhea. Why?
Cricket's just looking around,
Do you want to try and get a look at the body and everything?
Probably.
I would say that you can actually see the body from, see the body being taken away if you want to roll a perception.
Now that I'm not playing my instrument, is it 24?
I would say that you can actually see the long daggers that are kind of still inside the young woman, the young Townsguard, just kind of protruding from her chest. And from what you can see, even at a distance, those blades are of a demonic, fiendish.
Do you want me to roll Arcana for that?
No, the reason
Okay.
for it is because you can see the red or the red tinge inside the blade, the multicoloredness of it, the fact that it's unfinished. There's no handle. It's just a blade that just kind of essentially there's a point on either side.
Like a long shard.
Essentially, yeah.
No
That's
tang or anything. It's just
Right.
blade.
Correct. You can see the distance that, yeah, that's not man-made.
Hmm.
And we'll end it on there for the evening.
Well, I'm going to jail.
Before we go, if I'm not mistaken, I would like to give me 2 seconds.
And
I'm new
we
at
have
this.
some more games this week.
Yes, we do. And I forgot that you sent that to me, Otter. I just would like to say that on Mondays we have the Troubleshooters ran by Cap. Tuesday we have World at War, which is ran by Jason. Wednesday we have a new campaign in the works for next month. Thursday, A Knight's Ransom, ran by Maddie, and Saturday, Stolen Cities, ran by Alex. If you go to our Twitch, you will see the times for these games, and we look forward to seeing y'all next Sunday for our next session. Good night.